Well, here are some of the pictures you sent in on our Eyewitness platform. First is this abandoned road project in Obiagu, Umuagu, Ufuma in Anambra State. Our Eyewitness reporter alleges that the contractor who was handling the project abandoned it after working on just a kilometer of the road. Now, this is a major road in the host community of the Federal Polytechnic Oko, and it is making life miserable for students and residents. Next is this picture of one of many damaged traffic lights on Aba Road in Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Our Eyewitness reporter is pleading with relevant authorities to give urgent attention to them to aid the free flow of traffic and also avoid accidents in the area. Finally is this blocked canal which our Eyewitness reporter terms a nightmare to residents of Olaogun in Itire, Kate, Lagos State. According to the Eyewitness reporter, this picture has been in public domain many times, yet no action has been taken to address the environmental impact. The reporter adds that the contractor abandoned this canal last year, and when it rains, all the houses in the area are flooded. I'd like to thank our Eyewitness reporters for turning in those pictures, and please do keep them coming in. Now, as Nigerians count down to the general elections, some residents of Ego Ikpogbaha Federal Constituency of Edo State have alleged poor distribution of the permanent voter cards in their area and want INEC to intervene. They took their protest to the Independent National Electoral Commission headquarters in the state capital, Benin. The State Secretary to INEC, Mr. Brown Uloha, who addressed the protesters, appealed for patience as INEC is doing all it can to ensure that the PVCs are distributed.
It's about 2 weeks to the general elections, and some residents of Edo State are still complaining bitterly over their inability to collect their permanent voter cards. This group from the Ego Ikpogbaha Federal Constituency in Edo State take their protests to the Independent National Electoral Commission's headquarters in Benin City, the Edo State capital. The leader of the delegation is Ehiozuwa Johnson, the People's Democratic Party's candidate in the House of Representatives election. He says the electoral officers in Ego and Ikpogbaha are working in tandem with the opposition party and demands their immediate removal.
It will not be fair why some of your staff, INEC staff, orchestrating, perpetrating means of bringing us backward. Well, in the era where they used to have autocracy.
In the absence of the Edo State Resident Electoral Commissioner Mike Igini, the responsibility of attending to the group falls on the shoulders of the Administrative Secretary of INEC, Brown Ulocha, and he tells them that they are not the only people affected.
Most cards have not arrived from Abuja. We don't bring cards in Edo. We only give out the ones that we receive. Most CVR cards for 4 local governments in Edo have not arrived. Are we going to use our hand and give to people? It's when the cards arrive that we give. And the cards will arrive soon. My commissioner is in Abuja as speak with you. All the other states have the same issue. So yours is not a unique matter.
As the clock gradually ticks towards the elections, INEC is expected to address this pertinent issue of PVC distribution, which seems to be a recurring decimal, with the frustration among the electorate growing by the day.
The responsibility of ensuring violence-free, credible polls in the 2015 election is everyone's call. This is according to the Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 6. He made this remark at a gathering of security experts and politicians on the conduct of a peaceful and credible election in Rivers State. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Health in the state, Samson Parker, has raised alarm over the abnormal increase in deaths recorded in the state ahead of the polls.
On the heels of recent violence recorded in Rivers State ahead of the general elections, the police and other security agencies, traditional rulers and politicians have come together to brainstorm on how to ensure the conduct of peaceful and credible polls. The IG in charge of Zone 6 says the stakes in this year's election are high for everyone.
Do we all agree with me that it has to be showing violence-free, secure and peaceful environment before, during, and after the 2015 general elections? It's not exclusively for the police. Rather, it requires a collaborative effort of the political class, the electorate, youth leaders, traditional rulers, the non-governmental organizations, security agencies, and indeed all well-meaning Nigerians.
Various speakers at the forum also expressed their concern over the tension in the state in the run-up to the polls.
Evidence also provides us now that there is tension in the land. How is the police and the other security agencies prepared? We know of the incidences in the various parts of the country during the campaigns, whether in Africa, whether it's in Lagos, in Kano, in Kaduna, in Jos. How did the police and the agencies perform in curtailing such incidents? They are now passed, or they serve as lessons to enable us reorganize and be more proactively prepared for what is going to come on the election day itself.
There is nothing sinister or violent about the concept of elections. Things only go bad, and violence creeps into the affairs of man, including political matters, when the different parties, I'm talking about the male and the female, do not carry out their God-given roles.
For the Commissioner for Health in the state, the situation has become really worrisome.
An orgy of political violence have been unleashed on the people of Rivers State. And we are seeing an abnormal increase in deaths and injuries as election approach.
With the elections 2 weeks away, the clamor for violence-free polls by the people of Rivers State has become strident, signifying the need for more concerted effort to prevent total breakdown of law and order in the state. Emmanuel Ere, Channels Television News.
Staying with the election, some Nigerians in the United States say they are monitoring events back home ahead of the March 28 polls. Though they expressed dissatisfaction with the postponement of the elections, those who spoke to Channels Television insist efforts must continue to ensure the elections hold as rescheduled. Our Washington correspondent, Maria Bird, reports.
Elections in Nigeria are not only affecting those who live within the country, but Nigerians in the diaspora. Many Nigerian Americans are using social media and other forms of advocacy to influence the election process. One Nigerian American founded a nonprofit organization that advocates and speaks out on Nigerian issues.
IJDC partnered with other organizations like the Red Carpet Movement, Code, Border Quench, etc. We had a huge tweet chat where we also were joined by representatives of Voice of America and the Washington Post to try to galvanize and engage people on what their general thoughts on the elections were. So we're really part of the process. We're monitoring it intently, and I think that in general, a lot of people are just disappointed by what they see, and not only by what they see, but what could be the consequences.
Nigerians living in the U.S. and making it their second home is nothing new. But within the last decade, there's been an increase in Nigerian business and nonprofit relationships. The Nigerian election process is not only on the minds of those Nigerians that work between the U.S. and Nigeria, but is also a major area of interest and concern among other Nigerians, as they believe they should have the ability to vote in all Nigerian elections.
As a Nigerian in America, I'm disappointed that they have chosen to postpone the elections until March 28th. Particularly, I understand the need for concern over safety for those who want to vote. However, Boko Haram is not a new incident. Boko Haram has been around, at least for this administration, for quite a few years. So the new urgency to actually handle the situation that is called Boko Haram is a little suspicious. But furthermore, we hope that the elections will proceed as scheduled on March 28th.
Nigerians in the diaspora are keeping a close watch on the upcoming presidential elections, as they too want to be a part of the electorate.
From Washington, D.C., Maria Bird, Channels Television News.
And as residents of Lagos prepare for the elections, the leadership of the Lagos Chapter Christian Association of Nigeria says it has not endorsed any candidate or political party for any elected position in the state. The Lagos State Chairman of CAN, Alexander Gbangbola, stated this at the 2015 Interdenominational Divine Service, where Governor Babatunde Fashola was honored with an award for his leadership qualities and good governance. On his part, Governor Fashola commended the Christian community for ensuring peaceful coexistence in the state and admonished them to participate effectively in the electioneering process.
This is a season of momentous opportunity for all of us. I don't know what your experience about electricity is. And I don't know what your experience about security is, or what your own financial situation is. But I join all our people to urge you to pray for Nigeria. And by so doing, we pray for ourselves. And I urge you to also reflect very deeply and to pray on election day. Because God is not going to vote, you are going to vote. To pray before you leave home, that you be given the wisdom to make the right choice.
Lagos State Governor Babatunde Fashola. When the news at 10 returns, we'll have some tips on the best ways to handle tuberculosis. That's on our Focus on Health. Please join us again.